What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about are golf clubs getting too expensive and should we be looking at alternative options. The reason I'm doing this video is that one of my good friends has just started playing golf and he's been looking at getting new clubs, but he said, Ollie, new clubs are freaking expensive, and I agree with him, they really are. And for someone to start in the game, everyone recommends that people should buy second-hand clubs, which is true because then they can obviously get the feel of the game and then look at buying better clubs in the future. But he is quite an elite player already, he's very sporty and can hit a really good ball. So we said there's no point, you should probably look at buying better clubs. So we kind of spec'd him out, and my God, it was expensive. I'll kind of go through later the comparisons of second-hand and new nowadays. It's just mind-blowing. So obviously you've got the release of the new TaylorMade M1 and M2 coming out next year. Obviously got the new Titleist out. Callaway releasing a new driver as well, Wilson are. And those drivers are in the region of £400 plus. That's mental. It's a ridiculous amount of money. If you say going back 8 years or 6 years ago, drivers back then were about 250 quid, which back then obviously seemed a lot of money. I appreciate that manufacturers are incorporating a lot of materials and technology into the equipment, like carbon fibre into the TaylorMade. So of course those materials are not cheap, but at the same time, from a consumer's point of view, that is a lot of money for one club. You can pick up 2 drivers, or nowadays for that sort of money you can pick up a full set second hand. As I'm going to talk about a bit more detail of the second hand market and how one of my friends, Piddy, has gone about buying a new set of clubs for a ridiculous amount of money. I might come across like a tight git, I'm not. Please take this video like a pinch of salt. It's just my opinion on manufacturers pricing up clubs which are ridiculously expensive. If I had the money I would do it, but I don't. And if they want to engage new golfers into the game, then it's quite scary how much they need to spend to really get into the game. So that leads me on to the second-hand market. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers like Rick Shields and Peter Finch. They did videos earlier in the year with Golf Bidder, which was fantastic. They gave you a good insight of how much you could spend to get good quality clubs. And Rick did a video recently of the new TaylorMade versus the old TaylorMade, and the results were very surprising, considering that the old one is only about a year old, but it was beating the new big dog. So that leads me very timely on to Mr. Piddington's story, who's a good friend of mine. He's just come back from university and he's looking to get back into golf. He's off 3. He's had the same set of clubs for 8 years now, ping. So he's outgrowing them. They're regular shafts. He's a very strong guy, hits the ball a mile. So we said, look, it's about time you look at new clubs. So he's in the same boat as me. You couldn't really afford a whole new set of irons or new woods. So we looked at the second-hand market, and the results were very surprising. So up here I'm going to list all of the clubs that he's bought, how much, and then I'm going to compare them with brand new prices and how much he's saved. So up first, he bought a Titleist 915 D3 driver, 7.5 degree with a dealer rogue stiff shaft in for £125. It's Class X demo, but it is in perfect condition. You wouldn't think it's used. It was in perfect condition. So 125 quid, that's a steal. Next up was the Rescue. It was a Titleist 915 H2, H3. I can't remember what it's named. But that had a dealer rogue stiff in as well at £90. £90. That is ridiculous. And then moving on to the irons, he's got Titleist 714 MB 3-to pitching wedge with dynamic gold S300 shafts in. Standard loft, standard length, £230. £230 for 2 years ago. I think Titleist released it, so 2 years ago. And the grooves on them are practically brand new. The guy who bought them off hit them 4 times and put them away. So Piddy's got an absolute steal there on the irons. But this is really surprising. I couldn't believe he picked these up. So we're moving on to the wedges. So he didn't go the old series, he went to the new current series. So he went to Titleist SM6 wedges. He bought 3 of them. You're not going to believe how much he bought them for £160. £160. That's just mental, considering that brand new nowadays, they're £99 or even more than that. I think they're about 110, 120 maybe. So £160 for 3 wedges. Admittedly, 2 of them are ex-demo, but still they were being charged a very good price for ex-demo. And considering these wedges have only come out, I think, earlier this year or last year, that's just mental. And he's picked a goldmine here because he's managed to get these clubs in great conditions at great prices. So then that leads me on to the putter. This is the final thing he bought. He bought a tailor-made Spider, I think it's a counterbalance putter, for 50 quid. That's just mad. It's just ridiculous. So all of these added up came to £655. He bought a whole new set for £655. What? That's just mental. I know I keep saying mental, but it is just ridiculous. Like, if you do your research, you can pick up some absolute bargains. So before I go into like the brand new prices, I want to mention that there are different ways you can go about, the second-hand market. So don't just go out there and buy the driver you want. Make sure you get fitted, because you're going to end up wasting money. I've seen a lot of people recently, they spend £700 on a new set of irons, but they haven't been fitted. They've hit 3 or 4 times and they hate them, and then they're selling for the fraction of the price. What are you doing? Like, it's just annoying, really. Like, people that spend that much money on irons, but that's my opinion. It's just, why don't you spend that little bit extra to get fitted? So before you start buying second-hand clubs, go get fitted with your local pro. You will be charged for the fitting session, because you can pay for the fitting session, but you don't have to turn around and say, yeah, I'll buy clubs from them. You can just find out your spec. Then you can go do your research on Golf Bidder and various other sites. I did a lot of my research on Facebook groups. I'm a member of 5 or 6 groups, and you can find some absolute steals. For example, Piddy's bag, he bought them all off Facebook. But I would say, I would recommend actually, is that you obviously get to know the seller. Are they from a golf range, are they from a golf retailer, or are they from a golf club? Then that it is legit and they are going to be selling good clubs to you. So once obviously you've got your spec, do your research, and then the world is your oyster basically. Go search for the clubs. I generally think the second-hand market is booming right now. It's incredible how many clubs are on there daily, and you can pick up some absolute gold mines. So obviously we talk about second-hand. Going into the brand new set, the savings that Piddy's made is ridiculous. So obviously Titleist 714 irons, the driver I think, and the rescue. Obviously I've got on the current prices that are on the website at the moment. I wasn't going to do it brand, the RIP price when it first came out. So the driver found one for 250 quid brand new. Irons 600 quid brand new. Rescue was 120 brand new. 3 wedges, so the new SM6s, £270 for 3 of them, and the putter was 150 quid. So that came to £1,390. So Piddy has managed to save himself £735. That's huge. That's a holiday. It's just mental how much you can save on buying second-hand clubs. Don't get me wrong, if you have the money, by all means, go get fitted, have the experience of getting fitted, and going through that whole process of buying a new set. I'm not against it. If I had the money, I would do exactly the same. But it's just mental how much money you have to spend to get up and running in the golf game. It's more expensive nowadays than it was back in the day when I started, 20 years ago, when I started with 3 clubs. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to give you a little opinion on the current golf club market. How much money you do need to spend to get up and running if you are starting out, or if you are looking to upgrade your clubs. You can trade in your clubs and everything, but look at second-hand market. You can pick up some clubs that have been hit 2 or 3 times for an absolute steal. It's mad. So there you have it, guys. That is my review of the current state of market with club manufacturers and how much they're actually charging compared to the second hand. You know, you can get some steals on the second hand market and save yourself a lot of money in my eyes. So guys, if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. As I said, just take it as a pinch of salt. If I had the money, I would buy brand new clubs if I had the money, but I don't, so I've gone second hand. I'd love to hear your opinions, so please leave a comment down below. Do you go brand new or do you go second hand? And if you are new to the channel, please hit that red button. Really would appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one.
I'm flying high, but I got a feeling I'm falling for nobody else.